¿Qué tal? ¿Cómo están? Soy Eduardo Orozco, representante de marca de Martin México. Aquí estoy muy contento de estar con Chris Martin IV, Executive Chairman of the Board de Martin Guitars y sexta generación de Martin. La verdad, this is a great honor, Martin.
My pleasure to be here.
This has been a great day for me.
Me too. Had a wonderful lunch.
Oh, it was a great lunch, a great traffic in Mexico.
Yeah. I like cities. Traffic is part of the...
I like cities too. I like to see how different they are on their architect, but also they're kind of the same also, right? There's a lot of crowd of people.
But good food and good culture.
A lot of museums and all that.
Yeah, good music.
I'm a really fan of Martin Guitars, and I'm gonna make a question that is not about the history. I know of course you're the expert of the history of Martin Guitars, but I would like to ask you more about the company.
Okay.
I know Martin Guitars has a great responsibility with sustainability.
Yeah.
So you've been working for Martin Company 50 years.
Yes.
Right now, this is your anniversary.
Yes.
So congratulations on that. That's a great career. But when you start, when you work in the company as the CEO, to make the decisions to be more compromised with the sustainability.
So, you know, the business was sustainable in the past for pragmatic reasons.
Okay.
And even today, it's a pragmatic approach to sustainability. It's selfish from my standpoint that we have been very fortunate to be able to use these rare exotic timbers. Mm-hmm. And for better or worse, they are becoming more rare and more exotic. But let's go back to the D35.
Okay, the D35.
So we're buying Brazilian rosewood from Brazil for ever. And then the Brazilian government says this wood is being over-harvested. We're going to put a moratorium on the sale. And we freak out. Oh my gosh, what are we going to do? So we started to look for alternatives, but in the meantime, someone in the shop said, you know, we have these pieces of Brazilian rosewood that have defect around the edge, and so we cannot use them on a D28.
Okay.
Because we don't use defective wood.
Of course.
We use wood with character, but if it has defect. But someone said, well, you know, if we cut the defective parts out, well, then it won't make a two-piece back. But someone said, but we could make a three-piece back.
It looks really cool.
So the D35, I don't think they even realized they were being sustainable.
Okay.
That was pragmatic. It's like, look, this wood is valuable. We should use it. The D35 has been in the line for a long time. So it wasn't just my idea, but it is... honestly, I'm being selfish that I want the company to be able to continue for 190 years. Mm-hmm. And so we have to say, yes, exotic, rare timbers are wonderful, but if they become too rare or too expensive, we have to look for alternatives.
That's really cool that you mentioned that you want the company to go forward another 100, of course.
Why not?
Why not?
Yeah.
But what will be, that takes me to the next question. Yeah. What think that are the most important values of Martin that you learned from your dad, your grandfather, your great-great-grandfather, that you want that the next generation from Martins or the company to keep them? What are the most important values for you?
So I've seen enough of my ancestors' early work, starting with CF Senior, that the quality was as good as it could be.
So that was the first one.
That's the first, and consistently. Not, hey, that one was good, that one wasn't. They're all good.
Consistent quality.
The other was, and my grandfather talked to me about this a lot when I lived with him. He said, you know, I'm not making the guitars. I'm in the office. And if we don't treat the guitar builders well, they can get another job.
Of course.
And then we're out of business. You know, I've said this before. Bob Taylor and I, we're friends, a little frenemies, right? Bob can build a guitar. Chris Martin can't. Chris Martin is dangerous with a chisel.
But cannot work.
But if I don't respect my colleagues, my business is not going to survive. Because you don't want to see a guitar that I made. You want to see a guitar that my colleagues made.
I can bet that your guitars are better than mine.
All right, but you and we probably would not be successful making guitars.
No, we'll not.
You're good at what you do. I'm good at what I do.
Thanks God, everybody has.
I try and take good care of my colleagues. They take good care of me. I kind of, it's like a restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
That my colleagues are in the kitchen cooking dinner. I'm the maitre d'. I meet you at the door. I seat you at the table, and then
enjoy your meal.
Yeah.
So that will be two important values: quality and also human trait.
Because it's a guitar factory. It's not me making the guitars.
No, it's a factory. Yeah.
Yeah, two factories actually.
And I know there's been generations of people working on it at the factory, right?
And family.
And families, yeah.
Cousins, aunts, uncles, mothers, brothers, sisters. It's still today. Yeah.
And that's 190 years.
Yeah.
Something else about sustainability.
Yeah.
That's a difficult word. Forgive me. Perdónenme. I find really interested the high pressure laminated material that you use for the X1 and X2 series, because it's really flexible, right? And it's really strong. So and I see the guitar, the X series, thought as a guitar for beginners, right? Or for people who want a really quite
you want a durable guitar.
A durable
guitar. Travel guitar. That you're not going to take your D45 necessarily on the road.
How'd you get to that material? How'd you choose to use high pressure laminated?
So it was a gentleman I met in Albuquerque many years ago. He had built a guitar out of HPL, and he showed it to me, and I said, that's really cool. He said, Chris, I have a patent on this. I would love for you to make these guitars. I said, Jim Witchell. I said, Jim, at that time we weren't making medium price guitars. We're making D18s, D28s. I said, Jim, we make this in Nazareth. People aren't going to buy it because it's going to be crazy money. He said, I'll hook you up with some friends of mine in Asia who have factories. He said, no, I don't want to have the guitar being made in Asia. So he said, I'll keep in touch. He would call once a year. My colleague, Tim Teal, Tim's uncle worked at the factory. Tim can build a guitar.
Okay.
So Tim builds a guitar at home on the weekend. He comes in my office on Monday. He goes, Chris, can I show you the guitar I invented over the weekend? I go, sure. He pulls it out. It's made of HPL. I said, Tim, you didn't invent this. Jim Witchell has a patent on it. Give him a call. And that was the beginning. I will say that high pressure laminate is a universal material readily available. Our high pressure laminate is spec'd a specific way with specific vendors. We've talked to all of the HPL vendors. Some have said, your criteria is too high for us. High pressure laminate is made of craft paper. Craft paper is the best paper on earth. So you take a tree and chop it up into wood fiber, and then you make the craft paper, and then you laminate the craft paper one on the other with epoxy, and then you put a photographic overlay on top of it. So that's what it is. It's still a tree. It's just that the tree was manipulated by man beyond just cutting veneers the way we would on a D28.
Of course. That takes me to another question. I know that ebony, the wood, is really popular on fingerboards.
Yes, and bridges. Yep.
And bridges, of course, is really important, especially in the standard series, modern deluxe, and all those, even though in some special model as CSC 13 Special and all that. But some people ask me sometimes, like, they start to see this ebony that have like this different color.
Oh, heaven forbid.
Yeah.
Right? Oh my God.
No, it's not ebony. It's not. Yeah. And they panic, like, this is not a real D28. And I'm like, what are you talking about? This ebony.
Ebony is not always jet black. And part of the problem that we have created is that the ebony that isn't jet black doesn't have a home.
Okay, what do you mean it doesn't have a home?
Nobody wants it.
Why not? Because it's not black.
Because it's not black. Okay. It's like, that's not sustainable. Okay. You can't cut an ebony tree down and only use half the tree.
Yeah, because the black part is in the core, right?
Well, I don't, it's, who knows? But having those white streaks, it can be charming if you
I like it
kind
a
of
lot.
Take your blinders off and go, wood has character. Yeah, so, but you're right. Everybody wants jet black ebony, and we've tried to stain it. But if the stain isn't durable, So it looks black, right? Yeah. You buy the guitar, you think, I've got a jet black ebony fingerboard. You play the guitar for a year, and then the white shows up. Then you feel like you get ripped off. So that's why we don't stain it. Now, we are looking, if we could find a stain that was
durable,
impregnate it, we may, because there's a technique in furniture building, it's called ebonizing.
Okay.
Where you take a white wood and you paint it black.
And look at ebony, right?
Yeah, it looks like ebony. So if we say it's ebony, even if it has white streaks on it.
That's really important to consider, that you're using the most available.
We're using the whole tree. We're not using
the most available tree.
And I will give Bob Taylor a lot of credit for that, because he really loves ebony. And he also says, look, we're not going to use half the tree. We're going to use the whole tree.
Yeah. But there's a lot of, do you think that's more like a marketing thing that happened with the past years, that people see a guitar and they see a really black fingerboard and they think that it's a really high quality fingerboard because of the colors? That's more traditional marketing.
Because the woods were more available, we had the luxury to say, no, we're not going to use that piece. We don't have that luxury today. It's not fair to the tree.
It's not fair, for one of your most ambiguous compromises, sustainability, right?
Exactly.
Also, you have one of your partners are on the batteries for better battery company,
right? That it's rechargeable. Yeah,
that's pretty much new.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
And it's really cool. How you start, or who gives the idea to start working with better battery code?
Sometimes it's the vendor. That we're a pretty good customer, right? If you sell to Martin, that's a good gig. So often the vendor will come to us, and the vendor came and said, I have a different way of approaching battery-powered electronics. And the worst thing is you're playing a gig and your 9-volt dies.
Okay.
So these rechargeable batteries, they're pretty durable. And I have an electric car.
Okay.
I don't go to the gas station.
No.
Right? So it's, yes, rechargeable batteries, they're a thing beyond guitars, right? They're
important. Yeah. So, Chris Martin.
Yes.
Can I call you Mr. Martin?
Call me Chris.
Okay, Chris. Time is over. I would like to have hours of a chat with you, an interview about Martin history, all these models. I have a lot of questions.
Well, we're going to go on the road, right? And we're going to call in all your dealers. We're going to buy that M2 at the BMW factory.
The man has just spoken. Yeah, we're going to do it.
We're going to put a couple guitars in the back, and we're going to travel around Mexico and call in all your accounts.
That will be awesome.
That would be hilarious.
That will be hilarious and awesome. I will love that. So thank you, Chris, very much.
My pleasure.
Cheers, man. Thank you very much. Muchas gracias. Denle like, comparten el video. No olviden seguir nuestro canal en Instagram, Martin Guitars MX. Y por favor, visiten nuestra página de internet para ver y aprender más de los modelos de Martin Guitars, martinguitarsmexico.com.